Gruesome Magazine.
Hello once again, I am Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing Stowaway, streaming now on Netflix. Probably the least gory movie we're going to do this year, maybe. But, you know, hey, I guess it does have some in it.
No.
It has none. No gore. Good night. All right.
There's a little bit. There's like a minor.
Are you talking about the light?
He has a cut. It's a cut on his side.
He's got a cut. Yeah, and they have to sew it up. Yeah.
Okay, we're being silly because we just made this big spooky, scary, gory, and we're doing a sci-fi film. That's the joke. I'm sorry if I gotta explain it. It's not funny. I realize that, but anyway, we are. Let me introduce the crew here. We'll start off with Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. I want to go to Mars.
Go to Mars. 2 years. That's not too bad.
Not me. I'm good.
You're good. All right. Also joining this week, Crystal Cleveland, Living Dead Girl, not going to Mars. How you doing?
I'm not. I am good. I am not going to Mars. I would go into space though. So when they have like flights where you can go up and come, I'm totally cool with that.
Just want to go up there and hang out for a little bit.
I would like to see the Earth from space. That'd be cool.
It would be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you and Elon, right?
Yeah, maybe the flatter. Maybe it'll change the flat earthers' minds.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, rounding out the crew is Dave Dreher. We're gonna have to see if I can do it extra long.
Dave Dreher.
They should go up and do the entire half hour, and then we go good night.
I know.
That'd be good.
All right,
and so I ain't going in space. I'm gonna keep my ass right here on
Earth.
Earth.
Right on Earth. Well, I know this is exactly the kind of film you like to review, right?
Ugh.
I like this quite a bit.
Oh, really?
Okay.
This is fun. This is good.
Right. This is exciting.
I'm glad someone did.
All right. Oh, no. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to give our first impressions, and then we're going to talk about the film for a little bit. We might get into spoilers. It's on Netflix. Come on. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score, 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. What film are we talking about? We are talking about Stowaway, a pretty big film that's playing on Netflix. If you didn't see, Netflix made a big deal of that all summer long. They're going to have a big movie every week. So this is one of them. This is one of the first ones, Stowaway. And it's available on Netflix beginning April 22nd. Director is Joe Penna, written by Joe Penna and Ryan Morrison. The cast includes Anna Kendrick, Daniel Day Kim, Shamier Anderson, and Toni Collette. Yay, Toni Collette! Synopsis: A three-person crew on a mission to Mars faces an impossible choice when an unplanned passenger jeopardizes their lives of everybody on board. I mean, you got to admit, that's a really good concept. So basically, everything is minimized so these three people can make a 2-year trip to Mars, and they find somebody accidentally stowed away. It sets up your conflict. I mean, that's a great conflict. They have to resolve it. They got to get along with each other. They got to figure out, how to live, how to breathe. And then when things go wrong, that danger escalates. And this is, we called it the feel-good movie of the year. No, this is a depressing, sad movie, but it's actually pretty interesting, or at least some of us think so. So let's find out what that is. And we're going to start off with Crystal Cleveland. What was your first impression of Stowaway?
Okay, so let me preface this by saying that the movie is shot really well, and it looks cool, and the acting is phenomenal, of course, from Toni Collette. I was like, this girl with her Australian accent, and she sounds so good, so real. I fucking hate her. She's so fabulous. But this is the problem with this movie is this is the absolute type of movie that I never watch. I never want to watch. It does nothing for me. In fact, I lose my boner so fast with movies like this. If you take me into space and you don't give me some aliens, I don't like it and I don't want it. I better have some sort of creature. I better have something to freaking keep my attention. So the problem for me and the reason why I don't like this movie is because I just don't like movies like this. I just don't like them. I mean, I get it though. Like, as an external person, I'm like, So tons of people, I'm sure, really enjoy this. But I also didn't care about the characters very much. I mean, yeah, no.
Oh man, you totally lost me as soon as you said you lost your boner. I'm just
Yeah, but it's so
really
true.
gone,
I'm just like, I was like, it was a drudgery to watch this for me. Like
man.
I actually avoid movies like this. Like what about the one with Sandra Bullock and all? I'm like, yuck. But like, I don't.
Right.
Ew. I watch horror and some fantasy and some sci-fi, but sci-fi with aliens
Aliens and horror.
and horror.
In horror. All right. Well, I think we understand. I think we really got the picture there. It's kind of graphic,
Yeah.
but we got it. All right. Jeff Mohr, what was your first impression of Stowaway?
And don't tell us about your boner, Jeff. We don't want to hear it.
Well, okay.
Oh my god! If you're a visual learner, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So I like it. I like a good science fiction movie, and I do find horror in, in a way, being trapped on a spaceship like that, or being out in space is a type of, well, to me is that the whole concept of it is kind of horrifying. However, this one set me off right at the beginning with two things that bugged the hell out of me, and I'm being trivial, but this giant spacecraft is taking off, and they're showing like close-ups of the astronauts in their seats, and you see it's like the excess seat belt that you pull to tighten it.
Yeah.
And we're getting like, for some reason I have 5 Gs in my head, but it had to be more than that. I mean, you pull 5 Gs in a race car sometimes, so this thing is going to be pulling more Gs than that. We see the end of this seatbelt flapping around, and I'm like, not happening. Sorry, but not happening. And that just really irritated me right off the bat. It just seemed like such an obvious thing. And then the other thing is the stowaway. I never did figure out. It made no sense to me how he ended up where he ended up. They didn't really make much of an effort to explain it. He kind of mumbles something as an explanation. Oh, I thought I was blah, blah, blah. But they don't, when you look and see where he's comes out of, I'm just like, no. So anyway, now, if I'm going to accept that, somehow or another we ended up with an extra person on this ship. From that point on, I enjoyed it. I thought the acting was good. I wasn't too familiar with Shamier Anderson that I know of, but I love Daniel Day Kim and Anna Kendrick and Toni Collette, of course. There was a couple other things that seemed a little off to me, like in terms of the science, but I understand why you got to get rid of that for movies. So there would have been lags in the radio communication between her and going back to Earth, and they just kind of ignored that. But I'm okay with that because it's, you got to move the story along. So I thought it was neat how they played the different characters off against each other and their motivations. Yeah. The Daniel Day Kim's character wanted to get back to his family and his kids. Anna Kendrick was the one that was the, caring of everybody, and you need to do the right thing. And she tells a little story that justifies that makes a lot of sense. Toni Collette's trying to, be there for the mission, but she also has conflicting emotions and thoughts about that. And Shamier Anderson is, he's a freeloader, and he's got to kind of take what comes.
He's a freeloader. Jeez. Okay, I want to point out, by the way, that this actor, he's in Winona Earp, which is a show on Sci-Fi that I absolutely love. So maybe that's why I'm
in
like, I think
Winona Earp.
Yeah.
Oh, he's that. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that guy. I haven't seen that. I saw the first season. I need to get to the other ones. Anyway, back to this. So it just some major science flaws that bugged the hell out of me, and after that, I enjoyed it, and I liked the drama at the end, the no-win situation they were in.
Yeah. It was also incredibly frustrating when it was like, what do you know?
Well, it was, and that's another thing I had a problem with. Oh God, don't make me think of more stuff. So
it might be something.
Well, this is what I was saying. I was like, one person said that, Anna Kendrick is so brave, and I was like, brave or stupid?
Sometimes they go hand in hand.
Anyway.
All right.
I don't think any one person's life is more valuable than another. I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's the whole dilemma, and everybody has different thoughts. Dave, I got to find out, what was your first impression of Stowaway?
I enjoyed this quite a bit. I didn't even know this existed. This happens a lot to me. I didn't even know it was right. And I was really shocked when Anna Kendrick was in this, because I think of her as kind of a fluff actress. I don't think of her really in this type of a role. I mean, I think she just freaking nailed it in this movie. I thought she was exceptional, quite frankly. Toni Collette, you expect to be exceptional. And she is.
Yeah.
But I think Anna Kendrick really stole the show on this. The scene when she's fighting, again, I don't want, this is kind of, as I think you're hearing in our reviews here, you're either going to love this movie or hate this movie. I love a good, well acted drama, and that's what this is. These people are in a situation that there's no good outcome no matter what you do, but they decide to work you don't know right away, but they decide to work together as a team as opposed to taking the easy way out, which it looks like they might do early on. When they find out what they're going to need to do. I thought the same as Jeff, the plausibility of some of it, like that this 300 or 250 pound man falls out of this slot that is barely large enough to have a suitcase in. And you're like, how did that happen? I'm not sure how that went. And there was a scene too, and I don't know much about space, but there's a scene when they're out climbing around and she throws a rope and it just goes straight down. I'm like, would that happen? I don't think the rope would just go straight down. Wouldn't it float out? Or I don't know. It just seemed odd to me that she just threw it off the side of this spaceship and it went down like she was throwing it off a cliff, Just didn't seem right to me.
There's a lot that doesn't seem right.
Well, was that when they were on the big thing that was spinning around?
They're out trying to get the tanks off the thing, and they're trying to climb down.
Yeah. So there is centrifugal force out there that would make it go.
Okay. Yeah, it just looked odd at the time. It just didn't look right. I didn't think of the seatbelts flapping, but you're 100% right there. So I'm sure there's tons of that kind of stuff. But I think this was kind of meant to be kind of a masterclass in acting. And I think it succeeds in that. It's a beautifully acted movie, and I bought into it the whole way. I mean, I was like edge of my seat the entire time. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? And so I kind of dug it.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of be on Dave's corner here. Okay, so I'm not with Crystal, because I really actually do like all these sci-fi films that she said she hates. The one with Sandra Bullock and everything else. I don't know, the whole thing about conquering in an environment that you don't belong. I mean, same thing like when you're underwater or in the desert. The actual environment you're in is out to kill you. Not because it's mad, just because that's the environment, right? You can't survive in it, and they're so dependent on the gravity, the oxygen, but it's. You can get lost in the science of it, and there was a couple times like I was like, how did he even get in there? It was sealed. She had to unscrew it. I don't understand. And whatever. That it really isn't that important. He just had to be on there. So he got there, and then I don't know. There was a couple other things that were just kind of like, what the hell? Really? You're not going to bring up you're not going to put a backup thing of something, the one thing that's the most important thing on the ship, and you're not going to have a backup? I guess lesson learned, huh? I guess. But I liked how
I think they said the backups were destroyed.
They probably
they got
said
messed
something.
up. Yeah.
But there was no way. The important thing was that they were screwed, right? That they couldn't repair it, they couldn't replace it. So I enjoyed a lot of it, but sometimes I think they didn't quite exploit the characters to their best often, especially when they're in a situation where they're down to like, we've got 10 days to figure something out, and they just sit there. And I found that incredibly frustrating, at least at first, right? I found that incredibly frustrating. I mean, they even go to the point, and I'm getting in a little bit on spoilers, so we'll go ahead and just say that I enjoyed this film, has flaws, but in the end, I had a good time with it. But I want to go into one spoilery kind of thing that really bothered me is that our guy Michael actually had a lot of, the stowaway had a lot of knowledge about the ship, the actual makeup of the ship, how it was put together. He's an engineer, right? He helped build it. He knew where the windows were thick and where they weren't thick. It just seems like there could have been, I don't know,
some way for him to fix it or something.
Yeah,
I don't think there was a way to fix it. That's the point.
Well, I think so, but it's just like, it didn't.
That's not the story.
It didn't.
That's not the story.
Because they mentioned at one point in time that it was only a 2-man capsule.
Yeah, and
Right.
they added an extra person already.
They were pushing it with the third, and they weren't even sure they could do it with the third. They were thinking they probably could, and then when the fourth person got added in, they were screwed. And then you add in the carbon scrubber, getting shorted out, and they were basically fucked. There was nothing they could do about it.
Yeah, so you missed my point. The point isn't the fact that they just didn't do anything, is that there was an avenue to explore there that I think they just left alone.
You think the story should have gone there?
It could have been a little bit more. He could have been a little bit more involved in that last part of the story. He just seemed to be the Klingon, the guy that was waiting.
He was a Klingon.
Well, not that kind of Klingon, but so I don't know.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, yeah.
I shouldn't do that in a space movie, right? So I don't know. At the same time, it doesn't really matter. I thought, the whole thing about their gravity, I really liked that whole idea. It seemed doomed to fail. Like anything could get in the way. It was like, how do you know a meteor isn't going to, an asteroid isn't going to bump into that? How's this work? How do you slow it down when you're where you're at? I don't get this. But again, I'm not an astrophysicist. I don't know any of that. So it just, I don't know. So I guess the point is, I'm off in like fantasy science, and Jeff's in the real science, and I'm still getting lost. And anyway, so let's get back to what Dave said, because Crystal, you made a comment that you didn't think you thought her character wasn't up to snuff, or she didn't act.
I didn't say she. What?
Well, you said something about her that people were saying that, and you were like, "No way."
She wasn't brave. She was dumb.
That she was brave. Her character was. I'm like, okay, you could say brave, but I do not find in movies where someone sacrifices themselves as being virtuous. And I know that we do, and that's the kind of culture we create. But I don't think that's. I think that's silly. I think that's. I mean, she's a doctor. She's a doctor. So they no longer have a doctor on their trip for 2 years. Good luck with that.
No. And one person has
duped it out to see who lost.
I don't know what they should have done, but I don't think that it was. This is stupid because it's a movie anyway. But the reality is, they should have turned their butts around and come back home. It's ridiculous. The whole trip was just a major cluster. It's just so.
They said at the beginning they didn't have enough fuel to do that because they were going too fast.
So then, how are they going to get back when they refuel at Mars or something?
There's a difference between slowing down. They had all this momentum going and were flying with it, and so that's not probably taking up fuel. But to slow down and turn around and go back. And they couldn't have someone else come up and bring them anything and meet them halfway before they get there. They're going pretty fast. I don't.
It's stupid. It's stupid. The bottom line is it's stupid. They should have counted. Yeah, they should have They would have counted everyone that got on that shuttle and got off that shuttle. Otherwise, their processes, their QA/QC is garbage. The whole thing is just silly to me. It's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. I don't think it's virtuous to sacrifice yourself to save anyone, especially when you could save lives. I mean, I don't know how they should have fixed the situation, but someone sacrificing themselves isn't the answer. What sort of...
this is like heavy spoilers, so Doc, shut me down if you want me. But I think she feels responsible because when they're out attempting to get the air things, right?
She drops
one, so she basically fucking kills them. It's done, and she did that. So I don't think she sacrificed herself. I think she just paid the price because she's the one who fucked it up.
Ugh.
I mean, that's how I took it.
Yes. Well, here's the reality. The truth is
that was combined with her past experience too.
Yeah, I do get that that's her personality since she's a lifeguard. But here's the reality: if we're looking at someone who is unnecessary, it would either be the stowaway, or now that the botanist dude all his stuff is destroyed, well, he's not very useful either. The captain and the doctor are the two most important people on that thing. That is all. That's a fact.
Especially when the captain has a broken arm, right?
Yeah, but she's still the captain. So that's just it. So the other two are useless. So one of them should have been the one. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking more long term. Like, but she's a doctor.
Yeah, but one of them couldn't do it, period. And then the other one he was having a rough go at it, even though he could do it. So, I don't know. I can't disagree with you, but at the same time, I followed the logic on why she had to.
I get it, and it's her personality type, and that's all well and good. And it made her feel better about herself. But I also think part of the reason she did it is because of the guilt the damn botanist put on her. What have you done?
Well, that might be true too.
Shut up, algae boy.
Like, what is wrong with him to say that to her? Well, I gave up my... Yeah, what have you done? Excuse you? Oh.
That burns your butt.
Of course, because I'm like, I don't know. I guess I just have a lot of respect for her. Here is this young woman who's a doctor. She has a beautiful heart. I didn't like that. I don't like it.
No, I mean, well, it brought out those emotions in you, so it succeeded in something.
This is why I don't like these movies. I think they're stupid.
All right. Well, I think we better wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score. This is going to be fun. And our from 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. But before we do, if you're still watching, thank you for hanging out with us. We hope you're enjoying this review and many others we have on the channel and on the feed. Please check them out. If you hit the subscribe button or share with a friend, it does wonders. We would appreciate that greatly. Hit the like button, dislike button, or leave us some comments. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, all that kind of good stuff. We want to thank our patrons real quick over at Patreon, who without their patronage, we wouldn't be able to do not only Gruesome Magazine, but Horror News Radio, Decades Horror, and Heroes and Droids. We covered it all, man. We covered it all. Thank you guys so much. You know who you are. All right, let's do this. Our final thoughts, our score, and favorite scene. Crystal, you're up first.
Okay, so I'm giving this movie a 3. I mean, obviously, because it's... Well, I mean, I get it. I get that I can watch it as a movie that I don't have to like it, but I can watch it objectively. I still think there's way too many flaws for it to be any better than that, but it's okay as far as that stuff goes. My favorite scene is when he wakes up and realizes he's in space. He like walks up, and then he's like, ah. Mm-hmm. That was scary. I would imagine. I would have shit up. Yeah, I would have a total panic attack. So yeah.
I know you can't open the door and leave. That's for sure.
Ooh, spooky! How long has it been? How long has it been? I don't know. Take me back home.
All right, Jeff, you're up next. Your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene.
So this is a tough one. This is a tough one because I was torn. I really liked the drama of it and the character interactions and their motivations. And I like the puzzle of it, trying to figure it out without losing anybody. And sort of the moral quandaries. There was a lot of the science stuff that rubbed me the wrong way. Although, most of the time I'm okay with that because, for eons now or decades and decades, we have explosions in space that make big booms, which just ain't happening. But anyway, I did have a problem, since we've mentioned it already, with her dropping that canister, because I'm like, why wasn't that secured in some way? Why wasn't that hooked to her body? This is like their whole thing. But okay, so there was a lot of little things like that, but I did enjoy the drama, so I'm giving this a 3 as well. I'm glad I watched it. I love the performances. And I found that spaceship really interesting, and I don't know enough about it to quite understand what the concept was behind it, but it was interesting. And so my favorite scene is going to be when they were traversing through that thing, from one section to another along those cables or poles or whatever they were, and how that changed as they got closer and farther from the center on which end of it they were on. I thought that was really interesting and actually well done. That did follow some science
and convincing too, right?
Yeah.
So Dave, Jeff just wants to let everybody know that in space, no one can hear you explode. That's what he's trying to do. All right, Dave, Dreher, sir, your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene.
But I think I'm probably going to end up being the one that liked this the most, which is unusual. I'm going to give it a 3.75. Yeah, I thought the performances were spectacular in this. I'm totally overlooking any type of scientific BS that was going on, because obviously, as we pointed out, there's plenty of it that if you want to tear the film apart for that, you certainly can. But I think Anna Kendrick was, I think this might be, at least for me, a career-defining performance for her.
Oh, nice.
I'll never look at her the same way again. I think she did a fantastic job in this. I also love the drama of it. I was on the edge of my seat through this whole thing, although there was really not that much to be on the edge of your seat for. There's not a lot really, other than the predicament. There's not much going on, but I was really curious to see how they were, or if they could work their way out of this. So I really bought into it. I enjoyed it. My favorite scene, I'm not sure I might be stealing some out of Jeff's scene, but this is also when they're out there traversing around. But there was one shot where you start off, I'm pretty sure it was the Anna Kendrick character. She's just climbing up the side of the actual capsule, the ship. Mm-hmm. And you're kind of tight on her, and then you kind of pull out and you see she's only like halfway up. And then you just keep pulling out and out and out and out until you see the entire ship. The entire thing with the thing sticking out the end, and you see it spinning in space, and you realize that she's like this little fucking ant.
Where to go?
This thing, and it was a beautifully realized, executed shot, and it just made you realize the enormity of the situation and how screwed they actually were. Yet they continued to try to find a way. So I enjoyed that.
So I enjoyed this film as well. I'm kind of a sucker for this. Martian is another one. I'm sure Crystal didn't like that one too.
Oh no! I don't even watch that. I don't even give them a chance. Okay. Why should I? I don't like that kind of stuff. Look, everyone has their thing.
Right.
I get it. This ain't my thing, but I gave it a 3.
You did. Yeah. Well,
for the quality of the film.
Yeah. So, Dave, how many films am I going to be picking the rest of the year that have this kind of? All right.
Three.
All right. So
three boners. Was it?
Yeah. Oh, stop. All right. I give up, folks. I give up. All right. I enjoyed it.
Yes.
I had a good time. I'm giving it. I'm going to give it 3.5. Favorite scene. What am I going to choose for a favorite scene? You probably hated this scene, all three of you, but at the end, she just kind of sits there and looks out into space because, she's always stopping. And I like this element of her. She was always amazed looking out the window and seeing Earth getting smaller and smaller. She was always, awestruck by where she was and what she was doing and the whole scheme of it, right? She was really reeling it all in, right? She was absorbing every moment. So when she, at the end, was out there by herself and sat down, just helpless to hang out there for her last little bit. Spoiler. I just thought I just really liked that, and then there's a couple little things that happened, and I thought, oh man, that's kind of harsh. It's like, but it was so, it was.
Mm-hmm. No,
it was just like, just happens. It just happens, and it was so interesting because I think it, suddenly I realized, it isn't, even though it's Stowaway, it's actually her film. It's really her film.
Oh yeah,
she's not
I think
Stowaway.
so for sure.
And I also
Yeah.
love her thing where she, she did it on a lark, or she thought she was doing it on a lark, that there was no way they would
Because he
consider
thought
her.
it would be funny.
Yeah, and then she thought it'd be funny, and then she was there. And then I like what the other guy said. Well, he was working toward, applying so he could go to space. He goes, I guess you don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So that I thought the script had its moments. So, all right, well there you go. That's our review of Stowaway. It's streaming now on Netflix, so there's no excuse for you not to watch it if it at all interests you. If you're like Crystal, and hey, that's fine. Don't go near it. Don't go near it. Stay clear. Because I can only assign those to Crystal.
It's not a horror movie. I mean, we know that, right? We've mentioned.
We
that,
didn't
right?
say this, but the director and writer are the same team that did Arctic with Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I did love that movie. Now I did like that. Not normally my cup of tea, but I like Mads, so I watched it, and I liked it.
So if Matt would have been in this.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Can't win. All right. Thank you all for hanging out, listening to us. Dave, Crystal, Jeff, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun. Crystal, just wait. There's at least a dozen more sci-fi movies coming your way in the next.
If they're horror, then it's good. Give me murder, give me death. Don't give me this poop. No poop.
No poop. No sci-fi poop. All right.
You're on the wrong podcast, dear.
I know. Let's say goodnight.
Right.
Good night.
Good night.